Every once in a while, on my YouTube recommended page, I would see the real Genshin Impact killer just released its first trailer. This is a game that's going to kill Genshin Impact. 5 upcoming Genshin killer game releasing in 2023. Tectone reacts with his semicolon-O reaction when he learned about what his government did to indigenous people in the early 2000s. And that's going to be the last time I heard about whatever game talked about in those videos. Because either A, the game is different in many aspects compared to Genshin, or B, got horrible marketing and never see the light of day. Like, name me one person that plays Blue Protocol. Yeah, that's right. However, on rare occasions, there's going to be a game that actually lives up to its height, actually managed to stay relevant, and actually makes MiYoYo shiver in the butt cheeks. But as you can see from the title of this video, none of it lasts very long. Now, to clarify a bit, what I mean fail is not that the game is straight up dead, but they never actually managed to stay above Genshin for an extended period of time. Anyways, without further ado, let's look at the failed attempts at dethroning the king of cringe gacha fandom. Tower of Fantasy is probably the first game that ever held the title of Genshin Killer. At the time, it has everything going for it. 4 million pre-registers, $26 million revenue, alongside 8 million downloads and 276,000 peak viewers on Twitch, all happening on its first month of release. Every popular content creator is playing the game. Everyone and their grandmothers is playing the game. Until they didn't. December 2023, 4 months after release, they only got 200k more downloads and only made $5 million, an 85% decrease. Yeah, things were not looking good for the game. So what went wrong? Well, almost everything. It was a very unpolished game. From the story to the quality, it's simply inferior to Genshin. A lot of things were buggy and messy, especially the voice acting, to the point that it would be better if the game has no audio for characters at all. Many people wanted to try Tower of Fantasy is because of the multiplayer, but that feature ultimately backstabbed them, because a large part of the endgame content has to be done in teams, and if you know anything about relying on other people for your progression in gacha games, it fucking sucks! Eventually, when gamers found out about the flaws of the game, many quit and never came back. Also, remember all the impressive data that Tower of Fantasy has before launch? Yeah, those numbers are nothing compared to Genshin, who got 10 million pre-registers and made $250 million on its first month. People always say Genshin could never. Well, Tower of Fantasy also could never. When you take a shot at a king, you better not miss. Unfortunately for Tower of Fantasy, all they ever had is a single nerf bullet.
Bro, why is this bug a thing, dude? Oh, it's just hackers?
Learning the mistake of Tower of Fantasy, Wuthering Waves has a much better chance of actually competing with Genshin. With 30 million pre-registrations, every single content creator and mainstream media talking about it, and Genshin itself in scrutiny after giving treatments to its players like those working in Chinese sweatshops. Now of course, there's a lot of controversy in regards to comparing the two games in the first place, and many people even said that the two games shouldn't even be compared, since there are so many aspects in both games that's different to one another. With that being said, if we are still going to compare the two games based on performance and popularity, the Wuthering Waves actually killed Genshin Impact. Well, no. Even on WUA's first month where its revenue was fully calculated, it still didn't beat Genshin, and the disparity between the two games' revenue is even larger on the next month. And I know a lot of you guys are gonna criticize me for using Ssbu Tower as my basis, because we all know that revenue doesn't equal to active player count. But while doing research, I realized that other websites are just pulling numbers straight from their ass. All of the websites give different figures with no source to back it, and since none of the two games give their real player count, it's the closest we can get to actual data. And even if we go by the gacha community speculation as recently as 3 weeks ago, all of them said Genshin has way more player count. So, despite all the hype, good or bad, why didn't Wuthering Waves beat Genshin? Ignoring the major optimization issue that Wuthering Waves has that legit shoot away a large part of player base that has low-end machines, including me.
Oh no, not again boys, no!
The most glaring fact as to why no one can defeat Genshin is simply because the game itself and the community surrounding it is just too big. Now, even though I have already thrown out some fair criticism about the two games in this video, I'm looking at you, Wuthering Waves. Let me play a damn game on my Dell Latitude. I have to say that both games are not even close to being a bad gacha game. It's just that Genshin has already established himself as the face of the industry, and it's the first thing people will say when they hear the word gacha and game together. I'm going to show somebody's comment to explain the whole phenomena. Every Genshin killer is just using a method of fighting fire with fire. The fire in this case is the fundamental of Genshin. Anime graphics, open world, and gacha. Other games might have fancier graphics, cuter girls, more immersive storytelling, or just simply better combat. They all have something that resembles Genshin, and everything eventually goes back to square one. Genshin is a high ceiling because it's the game that brought fresh air to the gaming community and revolutionized gacha gaming. All open world gacha game takes inspiration from Genshin one way or another. I'm not saying they plagiarize, change something up like the gameplay or the combat, but nothing breakthrough. And that's an important word, breakthrough. No, not what I did to your mother last night. Genshin's gameplay is nothing new. In fact, it was heavily inspired by Legend of Zelda. However, when it first released back in 2020, it added to an open world genre cute anime girls, which no other game has done before. That's why Genshin stands above the rest and remains dominant throughout its 4 years of existence. All other games is missing something that can bring the feeling that Genshin brought many years ago. With that being said, as time went on, there will be more and more games that is gonna rival with Genshin in the future. As of the time I'm writing this script, Project Moonga and Neverness have already released trailers. And would you look at that, both games are already labeled as Genshin killers. Now this is the part where I tell you not to compare the games. Already giving them the Genshin killer tag is stupid, and to enjoy the unique aspect of both games. But knowing this is the gacha community who lives on tears and blood being shed, that's not gonna happen. Anyways, until the crown leaves the throne, we all will have to endure the fuckfest that is the Genshin community, and the players will have to take all the shitfest that the dev is gonna give to them every anniversary.